Okay, I'm feeling a little empathy, which I'm working on. So because of that, you've been sitting there a long time. Let's all just take a really deep breath together. Ready? And let it go. Hands in the air. Stretch just a little. Oh, that's really cool looking. Okay. Hands down. Okay, that was for me too. I'm actually a little claustrophobic. I'm okay in this room. But as a kid, rolling down the stairs at the Nicholson's house inside a pitch black sleeping bag that smelled of old socks, I felt uncomfortable. And I'm a person who longs for open spaces and fresh air. Next week, I will fly 200 feet off the ground above the Sacramento River in Redding, California. I won't be in an airplane. I will be rigged to the Sundial Bridge. There, with my dance company, BANDALOOP, we've made a site-reactive piece on this beautiful structure by Santiago Calatrava. It is practically a sculpture, but it is a bridge that serves as a walking bridge over the Sacramento River. Going to the edge, and I might add, over it, it's not new to me. It is actually what I do for a living. For over 20 years, I have used climbing technology to access what I call vertical stages all over the world, in mountains and on buildings. The Santiago Calatrava Sundial Bridge next week is having its 10th anniversary. And for that 10th anniversary, so many things that I resonate with as an artist have come together. His groundbreaking, rule-breaking design, dance that asks the audience and the performers to rethink what dance is, and it's also a celebration of civic pride, using art in public space. And it all takes place in an absolutely gorgeous natural environment. As a kid, I dreamed about flying all the time, but only about 6 inches off the ground, like the sidewalk. But one day, in the dream, so it was really night, I flew up the side of a building, an everyday space. And I went up and over the roof, and then whoosh, off the other side, and it was okay. Not only was it okay, it was amazing, beauty, freedom. Up until my early 20s, I kept drawing pictures of this magical creature, this female standing on a cliff looking out over the ocean. She was an adventurer looking out into the unexplored. So I asked, what does it mean to dream? Not in that twitching, middle of the night kind of sense of dreaming, but the what if. What would life look like? What would the world look like if kind? Dreaming is fundamental to human consciousness, and I would add to making a meaningful, impactful, and fun life. For me, it's actually much more about the persistence and the detail of making that dream into a life. How do you do that? There are lots of things you need, but one of the critical ones is to surround yourself with a strong, wonderful group of people. It's not like that Hollywood sense of it, with the going to the edge and having a great dream. It actually is in the practice of it. It's in investigating further, stretching, turning it over, reinventing it over and over again, making it a practice. Going to the edge is the entrance of what I do as an artist. I'm most comfortable when I'm out under the open sky. I'm okay in here because it's a theater. I like fresh air and open spaces, but the theater and the studio is the traditional confines of my passion of dance. And this fundamental conflict has fueled a lot of what my dream is and has become in my art. As a kid, I grew up in Chicago. I studied at the school of the Hubbard Street Dance Company, and on fire with the passion for my art form like lots of young dancers, I took public transportation, the Jeffrey Express, downtown to the Loop every single day after school. After college and in graduate school, I moved to California, Northern California, and I fell in love with rock climbing because of these soul-fueling spaces that it would take me both physically, mentally. I'll never forget how I felt the first time I came off a multi-pitch climb in Yosemite Valley. I walked into the cafeteria in Curry Village, and I felt completely transformed. And I loved the feeling. That feeling is what I want to share with my audiences through my art. It was in Yosemite, on a cliff like this, high in Tuolumne Meadows. I'm clinging to a knife-edge ridge. The granite is warm under my hands. And I thought, what would it be like to dance here? What would that look like, even if only my climbing partner and a lizard and a couple of swallows saw it? Would it matter? Would dance matter if no one saw it? Ironically, that vision of dance in isolation high on a cliff in Yosemite has led to, many decades later, what I do with BANDALOOP all over the world for tens of thousands of people in public space. Let me show you a little of what that looks like. Thank you. The dreams of my childhood, nervousness inside of sleeping bags, have become my work, my career. I dance, I make dances in the air, sometimes on mountains, sometimes on towers and bridges, sometimes in theaters, but most often I make dances above city streets on buildings. It's become almost a political action. I think that dance and art should actually be seen as a utility, not a commodity, like water and power. We all need it for living. What BANDALOOP does is we take dance out of the somewhat myopic and elitist confines that it is traditionally seen, and it brings it to the people. Doing that is something that has made my career as an artist really, really valuable in a way I wasn't expecting. Injecting the universal urge to fly, to celebrate community, the human spirit, through dance and performance like that, changes what dance can be. It changes what public space is to its community. By doing gravity-bending dance in those places, we invite our audiences to rethink some of their assumptions about other things in their life. It makes the everyday something different, new, bigger. We've danced on over 100 public spaces all over the world. Seeing a library, a museum, the back of a parking structure, a water tower, differently, invests that space with meaning. One of my favorite, because people always ask, one of my favorite was dancing on a water tower in Soweto, South Africa at the Children's Earth Summit. We'd actually gotten kicked out of the main summit because there was a terrorist threat, and they did a SWAT team sweep of all extraneous activity, which included our rigging. It was amazing how those children appreciated and took to what we did and followed us around the whole entire time we were there. Another of my favorite performances was a 6-day, 5-night ascent of El Capitan in Yosemite Valley. We climbed capsule style, which for climbers in the audience might know, but those who don't, means that as you climb, you're pulling your ropes with you. So there's no way to go through that ocean of granite, but up. We danced on the head wall of the Shield, which is 2,400 feet above the ground. And kind of a funny side story, there was a bus load of Japanese tourists. They all got out of the bus, and they're told there's climbers up there, and they look up, and apparently there we were, But that feeling of dancing at high in El Capitan near the Peregrines is one that I will never forget. And it is one that I am now, many decades, continuing to share with my audiences through my art. Thank you.